is the Fox 5 News Block.
Wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan has died. The WWE legend suffering cardiac arrest at his home in Florida. And developing news in the push for the Jeffrey Epstein files, the Department of Justice meeting with Epstein's former girlfriend at a federal prison today. A lot to get to, everybody. I'm Antoine Lewis. Welcome to the News Block. Those stories in a moment, but first let's take a live look outside. As you take a look at the apple, we're going to bring Liv Johnson in to talk about the forecast here. We've got some heat considerations going on.
Yes, we do. We've just been put under a heat warning and a heat watch for some of inland New Jersey. It's until tomorrow night at 8 p.m. because today has been pretty comfortable, although it is a little bit warmer than 24 hours ago. But we're starting to get warmer pretty much every hour by the hour. 86 degrees in New York, 83 out on Long Island. We have 87 for Hartford, same thing up in the Hudson Valley. And we have 90 for Newark. Those dew point temperatures have increased a little bit since earlier this morning, so it is starting to feel more humid as we've gone through this afternoon. It's going to continue through the evening and tomorrow too. It's going to be more hot and more humid. We have some strong gusts of wind in the area, gusting to 20-25 miles per hour, but that's really all we're dealing with today. Now tomorrow we do have a chance of seeing a few passing showers and thunderstorms, probably mid-afternoon, as early as 1 or 2. Lasting until about 5 or 6. It's a little bit further north of the city. It's more concentrated for places out east like Long Island and Connecticut. But like I said, should be through by dinner time, and then we'll cool back down a little for the weekend. Antoine?
All right, Liv, thank you. Back to our top story. WWE legend Hulk Hogan has died. TMZ reporting that medics were called to his Clearwater, Florida home early this morning, with operating stating that it was regarding a cardiac arrest. Hogan, whose real name is Terry Bollea, was pronounced dead at a local hospital. Just a few weeks ago, Hogan's wife, Sky, denied rumors that he was in a coma, stating that his heart was strong as he recovered from surgeries. Hulk Hogan transformed professional wrestling into a family entertainment sport. He also had a reality TV show with his family called Hogan Knows Best. Hulk Hogan, 71 years old. Also breaking this afternoon, jazz legend Chuck Mangione has passed away. You probably know that song. The Mangione family issuing a statement sharing the news of his death, saying he passed away in his sleep at his home in Rochester, New York. Mangione was influenced by the jazz greats, including Dizzy Gillespie, who was also a family friend. Mangione was a 2-time Grammy winner. His biggest hit single was Feel So Good. Chuck Mangione, 84 years old. And still more breaking news to tell you about on the News Block. The Department of Justice reportedly meeting with Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, at a federal prison in Florida. Linda Schmidt, live in the studio with the very latest on this.
Yeah, hi there, Antoine. Well, first of all, this is a story that is not going away. The latest development today is that the Justice Department is going to interview Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend and longtime confidant and companion in prison. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was once President Trump's personal attorney, posted on social media yesterday that Mr. Trump has instructed the Justice Department to release all credible evidence in the case. And so the DOJ wants to hear what Ghislaine Maxwell has to say, if anything. Now, Maxwell is currently serving 20 years in prison for helping to lure underage girls for Epstein to sex traffic to powerful men. Epstein committed suicide in prison back in 2019 while awaiting trial. He was accused of abusing girls as young as 14 years old, hundreds of times for more than a decade. Now, the president's base and many others want to know who Epstein's clients were. They want the so-called client list made public. Attorney General Pam Bondi said back in February that she had that list on her desk. But then earlier this month, the Justice Department said it had not uncovered any evidence, any new evidence to charge anyone else in this case, and that no more evidence would be released to the public. Now, I did interview a criminal defense attorney last week who told me that if a client list actually exists, the Justice Department would most likely have it as part of the evidence that it gathered after raiding Epstein's multiple properties, and that the DOJ could have released it during Trump's first administration or during the Biden administration, but did not. Antoine, back over to you.
Linda Schmidt, so many layers, as you pointed out. Thank you so much for that report. Columbia University agreeing to pay more than $220 million to the federal government to restore federal funding that was withheld by the Trump administration. The university will pay the sum over 3 years plus an additional $21 million to resolve alleged civil rights violations against Jewish employees following the October 7th Hamas attacks on Israel. Columbia's acting president Claire Shipman talked about the historic deal this morning on CNN.
We kept all options at all times open. Yes, we had many other legal options, that's true. But we did look carefully at that, and we saw we could have some short-term victories, but we worried we would have long-term damage. For example, we could have faced the loss of any future relationship in the coming years with the federal government, and that would have effectively meant an end to the research mission we conduct as we know it.
Columbia's settlement does not include an admission of wrongdoing. The president is expected to visit the Federal Reserve this afternoon. This visit marks the first official appearance by a sitting president to the Fed in almost 20 years. Now, it comes as the Trump administration ramps up criticism of Fed Chair Jerome Powell for not cutting interest rates despite high inflation. Mr. Trump has floated the idea of firing him. However, that is not allowed under federal law. The White House did not say if Trump would be meeting with Powell directly. Shares of United Health Group dropped early today after the company said it was under a DOJ investigation. The company said it has started complying with both criminal and civil requests from federal investigators, and it was cooperating. Earlier this year, the Wall Street Journal said federal officials launched a civil fraud investigation into how the company records diagnoses that lead to extra payments for its Medicare Advantage plans. Those plans are privately run versions of the government's Medicare coverage program, mostly for people ages 65 and over. 29 people are hurt after 2 buses crashed right outside the Lincoln Tunnel this morning. Now, this happened just before 9, involving 2 New Jersey Transit buses. Fox 5 on the ground and in the air with Sky Fox as people were taken from the scene in stretchers. No word yet, however, on the cause of this crash. A Suffolk County police officer is recovering after being shot by a homicide suspect. Here's what we can tell you. Police showed up at the home with a search warrant. They say that's when the suspect fired multiple rounds, striking one of the officers in the face. He did undergo surgery and is now in stable condition. The hostage negotiation team eventually got the man to surrender. He is a suspect in the death of a 66-year-old man whose body was found on Bay Shore. Post office problems have been plaguing a community in the northern suburbs, and now residents and lawmakers are demanding answers. Fox 5's Richard Giacobas is in Bronxville, where one has actually been closed for more than a week.
Michael Gerald has been trying every day since last Thursday to access his P.O. box at the Bronxville post office.
It's mind-boggling. This is so disruptive to my life.
But the doors remain locked with signs posted directing people to the next town over.
Because you got to go to South Yonkers to get your mail, and the parking down there is horrendous.
Angry and frustrated Bronxville residents say they've been given no warning and no explanation. Instead, they've made the trek here, some lugging large boxes all the way from their car to the front door, only to find it locked up.
Terrible. This is of no notice.
Nearly a week with no answers, Congressman George Latimer sent a letter to the Postmaster General demanding answers. Latimer writes that his constituents have been unable to receive important parcels, including medications, posing an immediate and unacceptable risk to their health. Meanwhile, Westchester County legislator James Nolan, who represents this village, says the building has a number of safety issues.
There is no boiler, so they need hot water and heat for the wintertime. There's a lighting issue outside. They've had recognized that there was mold and vents issues.
This is the nicest post office around. I don't know how well you know the various post offices in the community, but this is a nice one.
As for Michael, he's reluctantly off to Yonkers, but still confused as to what is going on.
This is just out of control. This government is, I don't know what's happening in America.
We reached out to the United States Postal Service, and a spokesman tells us that the Bronxville post office is closed because of air conditioning issues. We asked how long that closure will last. He said it's temporary and that the plan is to reopen the Bronxville post office as soon as possible. We're in Bronxville. Richard Giacobas, Fox 5 News.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul signing legislation today requiring public schools have cardiac emergency response plans. Now, the bill signing taking place at the Buffalo Bills training camp. The Bills and the NFL have been powerful advocates for heart health and implementing critical training and resources in schools and youth sports. This following Damar Hamlin's cardiac arrest in January of 2023. Governor Hochul previously signed legislation requiring camps and youth sports programs establish AED implementation plans and to have at least one person trained to properly use the AED at camps, games, and practices. New York City has now updated its school cell phone policy to comply with a new statewide ban. Starting this school year, smartphones and tablets as well as smartwatches cannot be used during the school day by students. Schools will be required to provide at least one method for families to reach their children during the day, this in case of an emergency, and they must provide a secure way to store those devices. All right, let's take a look outside. There you're looking at, you see the flag is blowing a little bit of a cloud, but I'm not the expert. Liv Johnson is. So Liv, you do your thing, and good afternoon to you, man.
Good afternoon, Anton. Well, it is quite windy. We have been experiencing some strong wind gusts for the day. We're going to tap out probably in the mid 80s. Some of us do cross into the 90s, especially in the New Jersey, mid 70s or upper 70s for Long Island. And then as we go through the evening, expect it to feel a bit more humid, but it's going to stay dry and clear. Tomorrow morning, also more humid. Temperatures start out in the mid 70s, but eventually we get up to the mid 90s for most of us. Now, again, we have a line of showers and thunderstorms moving through sometime in the afternoon. That's at 1 o'clock on our Futurecast. You can see Hartford getting some and parts of southwest Connecticut and into the Hudson Valley. Now, some of us could not see any rain at all tomorrow, but some of us might see a quick shower, and then there's also that chance of seeing a quick thunderstorm as well. The good news is the heat really gets out of the way after Friday, so the heat watch and warning are going to be through by Friday evening, and then Saturday is much cooler. We see highs in the mid 80s, but again, we have that high of 95 tomorrow, upper 80s for Long Island, and mid 90s for Connecticut as well. Cools down for Saturday, 87 degrees. There's a chance we could see an evening shower that takes us into showers and thunderstorms for Sunday, and then we start next week off very hot and humid as well. A true summer forecast. Antoine.
Ugh. All right, we'll take it, Liv Johnson. Thank you. Hyundai's Hope on Wheels program making a big donation to Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Research Center today. The two grants totaling $500,000 will fund pediatric cancer research. Hope on Wheels has awarded over $277 million in pediatric cancer research to children's hospitals nationwide over its nearly 30 years in operation.
For almost 3 decades, Hope on Wheels has driven hope in hospitals, homes, and communities nationwide. But the story isn't about us. It's about the families who inspire us every day and the scientific pioneers like those here today who are leading innovative and life-saving research.
More than 15,000 children are diagnosed with cancer each year in the United States. That is your news block for now, everybody. I'm Antoine Lewis. Thank you so much for joining us. Tune into the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on the Fox Local app for all of the day's news as it develops.